the use of entheogens to facilitate healing and spiritual opening has become ever more a part of the public conversation. Earlier this year, a book was released by Michael Pollan, who is actually a food writer, and he talked primarily about this resurgence in interest in psychedelic medicines in modern research and certain pathways for psilocybin and MDMA that are moving through the FDA process to become prescription medicines. And what they're largely finding in the research is that there's a strong positive correlation between the level of healing that is occurring to treat depression, anxiety, addiction, and the level of mystical type experience that people are having and spiritual connection that people are experiencing in these trials. What can we do in a way, how can we approach these medicines in a way that deeply honors the Indigenous people who have held them? So this is going to be less about us presenting than creating an open forum really for questions from all of you that can be directed to any of us here on the panel. We have representatives of North America, Cree, Dene, Lakota, who hold the peyote traditions and are representative of the Native American Church. Wiradika elders and leaders from Mexico, the Huichol, as well as ayahuasca leaders and practitioners from Brazil, Peru, and Colombia.
And also what we're seeing is that Westerners or people from other countries who are seeking to connect to themselves and to nature are finding benefit from these practices. And so what does that look like when non-traditional peoples use these substances? And so we're also doing education so that people who've had a difficult experience or have beautiful experiences can actually integrate those experiences. So there's education, and then we also are engaged in research and looking at the benefits of these plants. We do some work also with the plant called iboga, which is also known as ibogaine. And that plant is a particular use for people with severe addictions. And so there's a lot of promise as well if we use these plants or these medicines and we steward them in a good way, that we could actually address some of society's most difficult challenges, such as disconnection, mental health, and addiction, by drawing on ancient knowledge and bringing it into other societies in a safe and respectful way.
Ayahuasca is a plant that specifically started, anyway, growing in the Amazon countries, such as Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, and Brazil. And actually, it's a tea that's made from two plants. So it's quite complicated chemically. You combine the vine of Banisteriopsis carpi with the leaf of Psychotria viridis, now the sacrament for a global spiritual movement with many diverse lineages, including the Santo Daime, which is a westernized ayahuasca tradition. That there's actually one church in Montreal that has what's called a Schedule 56 exemption, which basically means freedom of religion status in Canada. And what we're doing is we're bringing the awareness of these back to the interfaith community. Thank you.
Just really wanted to preserve enough time for questions, and we have a large panel here, and to let our Indigenous leaders to speak.
Hoje nós estamos lutando contra o ecocídio da Terra, que leva também risco muito grande para a humanidade perder suas vidas nessa Terra.
Today we are facing the issue of an ecocide of nature, of which human beings simply depend.
Hoje nossos povos indígenas têm conhecimento muito amplo sobre a vida e a convivência com a natureza, milhões de anos, e nunca perderam suas essências, e nem quer morrer, mas não quer perder nunca isso.
Today, we indigenous peoples, we still carry a millennial culture with us that has always lived together with nature, and we never lost that. Even if we lose our lives, we never lose that.
E a gente sabe que tem uma onda da economia de países, principalmente o nosso país, em busca de tirar o minério da terra, de tirar a floresta, para gerar uma economia.
And we know that there is a wave, an economic wave that certain governments are participating in, including our government, which basically is based on extractivism and wants to fuel economy that way.
Então, centenas de líderes indígenas têm morrido em pouco tempo.
So hundreds of indigenous leaders have died in little time.
Então, nós temos um confronto do
So-
direito à vida da terra e nossa vida com a vida da economia que gera uma destruição na terra.
So there is a conflict between our lives that lives together with nature and helps nature, confronting the life that wants to be created by the economy, which actually kills.
Todas as organizações que queiram realmente mudar a terra, não só no Brasil, mas em todos os lugares do mundo, a gente está aqui. Hoje não é mais nem curar nem quase a vida humana, tem que curar é a vida da terra, que é para nós viver, porque então
So,
a guerra maior vai chegar, que é a de fome e a de sede.
so that's the importance of us being here, be it all spiritual, political leaders of this planet should engage in such projects, be it wherever in the world, because that's simply the issue at stake is life on earth. And we are here for that.
Hi, my question is, so in the last few years, ayahuasca has kind of come to the forefront of Westerners' awareness, and I've been very interested in learning more about it. My question is it possible for outsiders to take part in it and similar treatments without appropriating? And how do we, if at all, would we be able to participate in a way that is still reverent and respective of the practice and the tradition and everything that came before it?
Muchos, ¿para qué sirve la planta sagrada?
There are many people who already know what the sacred plants are for and how we use them.
Y muchos han participado
Many,
a
many-
esa ceremonia.
Many people are partaken in ceremonies.
Para nosotros, ¿qué significa la planta?
What does it mean for us to relate to a spiritual plant
De la ayahuasca
like ayahuasca?
es el alimento,
This is our nourishment,
es nuestro conocimiento
is our knowledge,
y la sanación de nuestro cuerpo.
and the healing of our bodies.
Vida al planeta.
What the life givers and perpetuators in the planet,
Es el pulmón del mundo
the lung of the world,
y muy importante el respeto hacia las culturas.
and yes, fundamental is respect towards our cultures.
Nosotros, como pueblos, compartimos la espiritualidad.
We, as peoples, is our propensity to share spirituality.
Tenemos los mejores médicos,
We have the best doctors,
los mejores
the
cirujanos,
best surgeons,
los mejores psicólogos
the best psychologists
que pueden sanar
that
diferentes
that
enfermedades.
are able to confront and eventually heal different type of pathologies.
Y bienvenidos al territorio colombiano
And welcome to our
para que vayan a
territories.
conocer
Come
y sentir
Come and feel
en cuerpo y alma
in your soul and in your
qué
bodies
es la medicina de los pueblos indígenas, el ayahuasca.
what is the power of the ancestral medicine of indigenous people called
Muchas
known as
gracias.
ayahuasca. Thank you very much.
We realize that the world needs healing. We realize that healing is needed everywhere. But we also have to tell the truth in our history And sometimes the truth isn't too pretty or romantic or in that way that, you know, we are here to ensure that our generations have access to the sacred plants, access to it. That's why we are here. It's a generational movement here. And we see the need for healing in many communities. But we are driven by the tribal leadership in administering these type of medicines here. That is a must in any sacred plant medicine, is respect given to those lineages that were accustomed to that plant medicine. And without those songs, without the proper protocol of, you know, obtaining these medicines here, there's something missing here. There's a communication between the language that is used, the language to use to harvest medicines. There's a song, there's a movement around the harvest of these medicines here that some people that are non-tribal don't have that knowledge. And so there is a protocol that happens for us here. For us and for me, it's to share a little bit about where we come from and who we are, you know, as Indigenous people, as Lakota person, in the Native American church, in our sacrament medicine, our peyote, our brother, our elder medicine, our chief medicine, you know, our hikari, our azeh, our pejuta, you know, in that line of preservation here for our generations here.